Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there. Just let me know that it is working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. Hopefully your trading's been going well. We've got a couple of really awesome updates to get to. We had an awesome trade close last night, which we'll talk about in just a moment. And we got some bankers closed trades lining up. So let's go ahead and jump into this. As always, I need to remind you about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So please be aware of that each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys. So as far as bankers close goes, I took a short position on the Euro franc here just a moment ago. I was approaching this upper Bollinger Band. And I also took a long on the Euro pound. So I got two different trades going, and I'm up already over 100 pips on these, but it's not too late. I think the Euro pound, I think you could take the exact same trades. Yeah, Euro franc short and Euro pound long. Probably the best things that you can do as far as a banker's close trade goes. This Euro franc was super sensitive. Like it came up here, it kind of came up to this high, retested this high up here, and immediately just pulled back. This Euro pound, on the other hand, is being a little slower. It is positive right now, but not by a ton, right? Like it came into this lower Bollinger Band here right at the bottom of the hour, and it's on its way up now. But a couple of things I want to review on each one. Let's actually go take a look at TradingView, so you guys can see this. So as far as this banker's close trade goes, the Euro franc looked good. You can see right here that this market came right into a supply area. Why is this supply? Let's go ahead and delete all of this stuff. First of all, in order to find significant supply that's worth trading, or demand that's worth trading, you have to find structure. We talked about this yesterday in a lot of detail. Right here is structure, because you can see a multiple contacts of support and resistance. You can even extend it this way, and you can see it was support or resistance back here too. Okay, so what is the mechanism that caused the break of this structure right here? It's basically whatever supply was formed right in this area right here. Okay, so if the market were to ever come back into here, that would be a great area to sell. And look what happened this morning. It came right into there and it's pulled right back. So for me, that was an even more significant banker's close trade to take. That's not even over yet, but it's a great little trade for this morning. So like I said, I took a short on the Euro franc. Euro pound's not as good, but it's still worth trading in my opinion. Let's talk about this one. So this one's pulled back into, I mean, it's just making lower lows after lower lows, right? And it just keeps pulling down. So if you look at the higher time frame on this guy, you can see that we are coming into a little bit of demand on the Euro pound. Not a ton, but it is worth looking at. So you can see right here, you're coming into something on the hourly time frame. Let's see if it's there on the 2H. Yeah, there's definitely demand here on the 2H. How about the 3H? Yeah, you got a little something here too. So I do believe you're going to find some confluence right in here where this thing may come up at some point this morning. I've just taken a starter position long on the Euro pound. And then I've got a starter position short on the Euro franc. So those are my two trades right now, as far as bankers close goes. Okay. Pound franc I don't like for a banker's close, and I'll show you why. I didn't like this one because if you go check it out, you're kind of in the middle of a straightaway right here. Like if you look at this market from right here and go all the way back, this is a straightaway, right? That's not a consolidation. That's not a, it's not a supplier demand zone. It just doesn't make sense to put a trade right here. So if I were to sell, I'd be more interested in selling when it gets back to retest this area. But right through here is not a great idea in my opinion. So, obviously I didn't take a trade with this one. So I think the Euro pound and Euro franc they're more associated. Like obviously this one, this Euro franc has a very obvious supply area because it's accompanied by a very obvious break of structure. So that's why this one's an obvious place to trade. And then the Euro pound, not as much, it's not as good, but we are just coming into brute demand. That's all we're coming into. It's just a lot of demand zones right here. So I do think there's going to be a short-term move to the upside that I'm kind of working on right here. I'm not saying it's going to work, but I think you should at least get a short-term move that would be worth trading, right? So that's what I've got. Short Euro franc, long Euro pound, and that's just for the banker's close trade. All right. Okay, so we'll come back and we will revisit these trades. So we'll come back and take a look at this in a little bit now that we've got our trades cooking for the banker's close. And it's so far looking really, really good. But I would like to, at this point, go look at some of our swing trades that we've set up. I sent some more out last night that have not triggered yet, which is fine. All right. But they're lining up, which is great. So go ahead and take a look at some of those. All right, guys. So what's the coolest thing that happened last night? This. We hit our take profit on the euro yen. Okay. So this is a trade we took on Wednesday night, and last night, I guess, was Monday night, and we finally closed. So this is a little bit of a swing trade, almost a week-long trade. And we entered down here with our buy limit, and this thing just closed. And guess how much we made? 258 pips. About 258 pips. So massive win for us. And look how pinpoint, like we picked that take profit almost perfectly, guys. Look how as soon as it basically got to our take profit, it pulled back, right? So we're trading the supply demand really, really well. We're just sweeping the market right now. Could that have been a good sell right there? Potentially. It's just not part of my system, right? Like if most people are buying, or excuse me, if most people are selling, I'm looking for buy opportunities. And so I'm not looking for sells, even though that was a great little sell. For me, as far as a sell goes, I'm just taking profits on buys. That's all I'm doing. Okay. So this was awesome. Definitely greatest trade of February for sure. And it's awesome that it happened on the last day of February. We're up 260 pips on a single trade like that. That's the type of trade that can pass an FTMO challenge on one trade type of thing with minimal risk. I mean, this was a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Let's see. It was actually, I think it was like 2.85. Yeah, 2.85 to 1 reward to risk ratio. Just a beautiful, beautiful trade. Okay. And just a side note on this, when you win trades like this, you can afford to you can afford more losses. So, if you take a slew of losers, you basically just bought yourself 3 losers and you're still break even. Type of thing, or close to break even, right? Not that we want to have more losers. I'm just saying that's what's so cool about having reward to risk ratios like this is your profits are just so much bigger than your losses, right? In my opinion, it's the only way to trade. It's the only way to go forward. Real quick thing here, speaking of trades and risk reward, this is looking good. This Euro franc's actually closing in on some targets. In fact, let me actually pull some of these down just a little bit more, because I think this could actually just keep going down. Okay, so just basically looking to close out of these trades right in this area on the Euro franc. Euro pound, we'll give these guys a little bit of a closer target somewhere up here. Give this guy a little bit more room, or less room to travel, because he's not as responsive. I got a trailing stop on here, so that's why my stop losses have moved so closely with the market. You can see my stop losses are getting close to break even on that Euro franc. It's just because I have a trailing stop on each one of those. Okay, this looks good. So that'll give the market some room to navigate and travel. In fact, I'm going to pull this one just a little closer. There we go. Okay, I'm going to let that sit again. All right, I'm going to pull that over to the other screen while we chat over here. All right, so this was awesome, wasn't it? I really just can't get over how awesome this trade was. Like the drawdown on this trade at one point, we were down 58 pips, and then we ended up making 100 or 200, not 100, 255, 260, whatever it was. Just an incredible trade. I mean, and for those of you watching this recording on YouTube or something like that, don't believe me, here's the literal call out on Telegram. Like we literally called this trade right here. Here it is right here on you can see right here, it's dated February 22nd, 2023. Here is the trade right here on the Euro Yen. We put in a buy limit right here to buy. We waited for it to come to us. It pulled in, triggered us in, and then we waited until Monday night, which was last night. Now we are here February 28th, and this trade is now closed, right? So huge trade opportunity. All right, so that one's closed and booked. I'll probably make an update later, just kind of updating everybody that this one's closed so that they don't have to worry about it anymore. We could look for re-entry opportunities. I think there's better trades to take. We've already taken some really good trades, which we'll get into probably next. But this one's in the books, but a really fun trade to end the month on. Yeah, who's not going to complain about, making 255 pips on a single trade to end the month? I mean, that's just crazy awesome, right? All right. So the next trade, so I posted some trades last night. Let's talk about these. So I posted this Aussie CAD trade that has not triggered yet, but it is here and pending. So when you guys look at the Telegram, you'll see signals like this. Here it is. So it's got the little image with the analysis right here, plus it's in written format. I started posting the signals this way, which I've had a lot of great feedback from you guys saying that you like this. I hope this is helpful. We'll continue to do them this way unless I get negative feedback, but so far it's been pretty good. You're liking these types of signals. So yeah, it's going to come with the pair, the direction, and then I'm going to specify the type of order that it is. This is extremely important. You need to know what type of order it is, because if you put in a buy stop or you put in a sell stop or something like that when it's supposed to be a sell limit, that's going to be a problem. So make sure you pay attention to this component right here. And then, it's going to have your entry. So when you're pulling up your trading platform, you're going to pull up, here's kind of the process. You're going to pull up the pair, you're going to pull up the chart, and then you're going to hit the new order button, however that is on your platform. And then you're going to, specify what type of order it is. Most places will just say, is this a limit order? Is this a stop order? Is it a market? And you'll just say, oh, Steve said sell limit. I'm going to place a sell limit. Great. Okay. And then you're going to put in your price, which is this, your take profit, which is this, and then your stop loss, which is this. Okay. And once all those things are in, you can go. It's up to you if you want to put in a trailing stop. I think for most swing trades, because we're using a tight stop loss, not super, but it's tighter, relatively speaking, to a lot of other strategies. I don't think the trailing stop's the best idea because you can easily get wicked out. Easily. So, but it's up to you if you want to do that. I'm not using them. I'm just kind of keeping it simple with this. Okay. So this is the trade I posted last night, obviously waiting for the market to come up to this supply, and then we're going to look to sell as soon as it hits that supply area. And we'll talk about why this is a good idea, in my opinion. But for now, I just wanted to make sure everyone's on the same page as far as these trades go. So, great. So I'm going to pull this back over here. And let's go ahead and break down this pair, because we didn't get to talk about this pair yesterday because I just posted it as a trade setup. But it should be a pretty good little trade. So let's break it down. So yesterday, I think we briefly talked about this as a trade opportunity, and then last night I posted it. So when you're looking for supply demand swing trades, what's the 3 steps? Okay, the 3 steps are: number 1, you have to identify where structure is. Okay, you can't find supply or demand unless you know where structure is, and you also can't find a break of structure if you don't even know where the structure is in the first place. So the easiest thing you can do is just come on a chart, any chart for that matter, and just start marking it up and finding support resistance zones. So this is a support area right here, or resistance area right here. And I actually made a video. It's a basic training video that you guys can go back and watch. It's recorded. I think I even posted it on YouTube, where I teach not supply demand. Well, I have one on that too, but I made a video where you can learn how to draw trend lines and support and resistance effectively. So you can, because a lot of the time people just draw support resistance and especially trend lines however the heck they want, and there's no real guidance as to how to do it. So I give you a method on how to draw support resistance effectively. Anyway, like I said, I got a video. It's on the calendar. You can go watch. And I think I posted on the YouTube channel too, if you want to go watch it there. Okay. So I like this area specifically, and there's other support resistance on here, but I'm just going to talk about this one. I like this one. You can actually draw this one out further. You can bring it out to here. You can see it actually extends out to there. So this area has formed support here. It formed support almost right there. It almost came down to it there. It came right here and touched. It came right here. And it even paused a couple of times through here. Okay, so that's definitely support. And you can also call that structure, okay? So obviously that's a support level and the market broke it. So that's step 2. Step 2 is find the break, and which direction is that break matters a ton. So since the break was to the downside, we want to look for opportunities to sell. We want to find supply and demand that would help us sell with a good reward to risk ratio. Okay. So that would be step 3. And step 3 looks like this. So we identified, we got step 1 here, we got the structure, we found the break, we know the direction. That's step 2. Step 3 is, okay, what caused it? Well, this is the mechanism right here. If I move this out of the way, let me see if I can grab this circle here. Come on, I don't want this. There we go. I'm gonna move that up there. So if you kind of zoom into this chart on the 1 hour time frame, you can kind of see the candlesticks or the accumulation that caused it. So whatever the banks were doing right here, they were creating enough orders, sufficient orders to be able to create this breakout. And if you really want to break it down, it's probably just this. Whatever they did in this little area right here is what created the breakout, the official break. They tried a little bit right here, didn't quite get it. Maybe some people got a little early on that, so that's why I'm including this area as well, as part of the supply demand. But if you want to break it down to the most minute detail, I think that is the supply. Okay. That's the direct supply that created this breakout. And it was harsh. Look how violent this move was. It was just boom, just immediate, just drop to the downside. Okay. So we have all that. And then the third, I guess, last confirmation is the fact that when you go look at the sentiment index, here it is right here, and you pull up the Aussie CAD. Here, once it loads here, give it a second. Yeah, here it is. So you can see on the Aussie CAD, 78% of traders are long and 22% are short. So most people are buying this and fewer people are selling. So that's another indication that we want to go against dumb money. So it's just another thing that's helpful to help us kind of find better trades. But you honestly could have found this trade without even using sentiment, just using simple price action techniques and looking for those supply demand zones. Honestly, I think you could have found this on your own. Okay. So if the market comes up to here, it needs to fill an imbalance. There's an imbalance of trades up here that has not been fulfilled or reconciled. And there's a really, really good chance you're going to hit a reversal somewhere in this purple area. Okay. You know, who knows if it comes just barely up to it and then pulls back. Maybe it comes to the middle and then comes back. Maybe it goes closer to the top and then pulls back. You know, that would be my prediction. Okay. The reason why I put my entry right at the start is because I don't know if it's gonna pull back right from the beginning, and I don't know if it's gonna pull back in the middle or at the top. So I'd rather just be in it as soon as the acceptable area gets tapped into. I'd rather just be ready to go. So that's why I've placed my trade right here. Now, the other thing that could happen is I've given you all the scenarios where this thing works out, but there are some times where supply demand just doesn't matter. Like maybe there's some fundamental news or something like that that's pushing the Aussie or the CAD a certain direction, and this thing just blows right through this. That could happen, which if that happens, we got to take an L. We got to take a loss. Okay. And it's important that we do take that loss if that happens, because you know, you don't want to be that guy. And I used to be this guy where I would just hope on trades. You don't want to have hopium. Um, because what happens is if you just hope and hope and hope, this thing could just keep going and going and going, and then you're just drawn down so far. That's how you blow up accounts. So we don't want to blow up our accounts, right? We want to make sure that we're trading methodically and with a plan. So this is the plan: is as soon as it comes into this supply, it's worth a sell, and then we'll go from there. My only concern is that you know, maybe this wants to come up a little bit further, like maybe it wants to come up to there and then pull back, which that would stink because then that would just barely stop us out. The thing is, I just don't want to compromise the stop loss. I don't want to have such a wide stop loss. I really want to kind of pinpoint where we believe the market is most likely to turn. And then if we happen to get stopped out every once in a while, we'll just take those. But I'd rather kind of keep that loss tight as much as we can and let the profits ride. Okay. As far as SonarLab goes, you can use this as a helpful cheat to find out where those supply demand zones are. And sure enough, right here on the hourly time frame, it's indicating that there's two supply zones right in here. Okay, this is on the hourly time frame. Okay. And then here, let me double check. I wanted to see how our trades are doing. Okay, good. Just a little update on our bankers closed trades, looking good so far. Yeah, that short on the Euro franc is just still going. It's basically paused here for a second. And the Euro pound long is also kind of paused at break even. But nonetheless, still up 122 pips today on this, which is really exciting. Okay, we'll let that continue to do its thing. But yeah, so back to the Aussie CAD here, swing trade. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really good supply area up here. You got two different areas where it's most likely to find a turn. The next area where it would find a turn would probably be up here or up here, and that's long after our stop loss. So I do feel good about that. It definitely looks like it wants to start bouncing up here. You can see it made this apex low. It pulled back into its demand right here, and now it's just shot up. So we'll see how far this move can go, but I do think it's going to find some trouble, and this is what I'm betting on, is it's going to find some trouble right in here. Okay. I'm just curious, what does a 45-minute look like? Yeah, there's supply right through here. They're saying there's some supply here too. Wow. But this is the area where they're saying supply is. Let's try a 30-minute. Yeah, same thing right in here. Maybe even a little before that, they're saying. Let's try a 2H. Yeah, right there, right at the beginning. of what I was talking about. How about a 3H? Yeah, right there. So yeah, I think I've got a good spot. I really do. I think we've got a good spot on this trade. And now it's just a matter of waiting because the trade hasn't triggered yet. We're waiting for it to come to us. And then we'll go from there. Okay. So that's just an update on that one, right? If you woke up this morning and you're like, wait, nothing happened, that's normal. Like that's totally normal because we're just waiting for this thing to trigger, waiting for it to do its thing. Okay. All right, the other trade that I posted last night was this one. We did talk about this one in the webinar. This one hasn't triggered yet. It actually tried. It got kind of made an attempt to come up here and get us into the sell right here, but it hasn't done that. We may end up canceling this one if it just keeps on going down because, you know, it's just too far away from the entry. And that's going to happen with some trades. Like maybe they'll just never trigger. And then it's just the trade doesn't matter then at that point. It's like, oh, okay, I guess we're just gonna, you know, just close the trade. There's nothing that we need to do. And we'll just move on to the next trade if it doesn't trigger. So that's going to happen. But let's kind of recap why this was a good trade and why it still is a good trade for now. So we're looking to sell if the market can come up to here. Again, it is a sell limit order. So we're willing to sell, but only if it gets to this price area up here. And this one is a great trade. It has a 4, almost 5-to-1 reward to risk ratio tied to it. We've really got this thing pinned really, really well if we can get the market to come up to this price. But why do we like this price up here? So let's break this down. A couple of things. So this is actually, here, let me actually just draw, let's do a horizontal line. Right here is a support area, support resistance area. You can see it's resistance here, resistance here, resistance here, it's resistance here. And it actually was a bunch of support. It was a place of support right through here. Support, support, support. And then it was also resistance back here. Like it's been respected for months, right? And then it was also support back in December right here. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is if you pull over here to where this area right here, the market hasn't reconciled this supply area. So this is the thing. This is the area, whatever happened in here, whatever orders were placed up in this area is what generated this move to the downside. And guess what? The market has never come back up to reconcile these trades up here. Never, which is very interesting to me. We've never filled the imbalance of trades right in here, okay? So yeah, you'll see the market broke that, came down, it just went on this reckless ride to the downside, and then sure, many times it came back up and hit the resistance, but it never filled the imbalance, okay? So it, you know, got close to the resistance there, hit the resistance here, you know, hit it right there, but never has it actually filled this imbalance. So there's a massive amount of supply there. And my guess is if the market were to ever hit that supply, you should get a nice little pullback, maybe pretty violent pullback actually. So the market's really struggled to break through that area. And then if you use Sonar Lab, you'll see, look how much supply is up in here. Like, right? Like you just unhide it and you just, this is our area of supply. And then you pull up Sonar Lab and it's like, boom, just endless amounts of supply. That has been what's pushing this market down so incredibly. Like it's just so incredible how much supply is up here, right? An incredible amount. So, and why did I select this area as my purple area? Just so you guys can do the same thing. Basically, I was just encapsulating this last bullish candle, basically this last bull candle before the move down. And I was trying to also capture several candlesticks that were in here that I think were part of the consolidation. And if you go to a smaller time frame, it looks better. So you go back over here. Let's go back. Come on, let's go back. Wow. Here it is. Okay, so I come back into here on a 15-minute. And yeah, you can kind of see like there's definitely something going on right here, right before the breakout that led to the break. And then yeah, just whatever took place in here, they were so convinced about their sells that the market just broke that level and never ever came back to it, right? Yeah, so anyway, let's go back to that hourly time frame. And yeah, if you pull up Sonar Lab, there it is. So tons of supply right there. So yeah, if we can ever get the market to come into that and tap into that area, oh boy, that should be a really great trade. Should be a phenomenal trade. But that's, like I said, only if we can get the market to come up into there. So it's a great little trade. We just have to be patient, right? Just have to be patient for it to come in there and hit. Could you take trades earlier? Could we just sell at this resistance? Yeah, I mean, there definitely were a lot of times to sell at that resistance level multiple times. The problem that I have with taking those is that you're not going to get the reward to risk ratio that you need, in my opinion. Like if you're looking to get, 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1 or better, you're not going to get that if you're just going to take this at resistance, because unless you just, I don't know, stop out really quickly afterwards or something. I guess you could do something like that, but what I've learned to do, and this is what I'm trying to push you guys to do too, and this is why I'm posting signals like this, is to identify the structure, then the break, step 2. Step 3 is find the supply that caused it. And then I guess step 4 is execute a trade that's within that identified supply area, because there's a ton of supply and demand. As you guys know, supply and demand is everywhere, but the supply and demand that's worth trading, that's worthwhile to us, is going to be the ones that are associated with breaks of structures, right? All right, so there's that trade. Obviously looking really good. And then the last trade is a trade that we have open to look at, and it's this USD CAD, and this one is still looking really good. So we took along, this one's actually now, yeah, it's Tuesday. So this is a week old trade. So we took this trade on Tuesday last week. Here we are Tuesday of this week, last day of February. And this USD CAD trade is now, I guess we're up like 105 pips on this now, right? At one point on Friday, we were up 164. It's pulled back for sure. At one point, we were only up 35 or 36 pips, and now we're back up to over 100 pips positive. But I'm still just holding on to my guns on this trade. I'm waiting for this to continue to rally. You just got to be patient on these, right? Like we're trying to get on this trade, we're trying to make, well, what is that? Let me move that out of the way. Trying to make 240-ish, 235 pips, something like that on this trade. So it's very similar to the trade that we closed out this morning that made 260 pips on that euro yen. So yeah, this still has this, in my opinion, we still have a little more than halfway to go on this to hit our target. And be patient. Like obviously for those of you that were patient, which was most of you, on that euro yen trade, you guys came out kings, right? At the end, right? Just totally slayed it on that euro yen long position that we closed out this morning. Absolute win. And those are the things that keep you in the business, right? Getting those huge types of wins, it helps you trade better. You can trade more focused because you've got more profits coming in. You're not so worried about hitting your next trade. It also fortifies the process. You're feeling like, hey, I can do this again. I can do this again, because I'm getting such a huge win out of this, right? So with this one right here, again, let this thing just continue to go. You know, and if it pulls back, that's just what's going to happen. Like the market goes on detours. It doesn't just go straight to your target. I mean, sometimes it does, but it's not the norm. So since the norm isn't just to go straight to your target, like let the market do its thing. You know, it's nearing halfway there. Just let it continue to go. Could you bring your stop loss to break even? Yeah, you definitely could bring your stop loss to break even at this point. I think that's probably appropriate, especially because the market's already pulled back into a demand and then has already popped up from that demand. So since that demand has been reconciled and has now pulled up since that demand, that makes sense now to bring your stop loss to break even. So you totally could, if you wanted to just to protect even more profits and to protect your account, you totally could bring that to break even at this point on this trade. Okay. All right, so okay, and that covers all. So we've covered all of our open trades. We've covered all of our let's see, we've covered our open trades and we've covered the ones that have closed now, and we've also covered the ones that are going to trigger. Okay, let's talk about this banker's close trade. So let me pull this back over. This Euro franc has popped up. I'm nearing, I guess I'm profit still on these Euro francs, but I'm getting closer to break even. However, my Euro pound has now started to move up, which is nice. They're a little bit negatively correlated, so this is kind of nice. If this Euro franc continues up, then my Euro pound should also go up too. And it looks like I'm pretty close to hitting some profits on that Euro pound. So that's good. But yeah, I'm still sticking to what I have here. Oh, perfect. I just hit my first take profit on that Euro pound. So I've made 4.5 pips there on that trade. And I've got 65 pips unrealized. But yeah, as far as the stop loss goes on this Euro franc, I'm trying to debate if I should keep that there, because that's getting pretty quick, because it's getting close to my break even on those. You know what? I think I'm going to put these up here, honestly, just to give this market some room to navigate still. We've got another 20 minutes in the hour. So I'm going to give this some room. Oh, I don't know if I did. Oh, that's right. Maybe I didn't. Thanks for letting me know, Kelvin. I don't know if I did talk about the franc yen. Yeah, let's go talk about that one. I apologize. Yeah, we still have that one open. And then I think we've covered it all. Okay, so here's the franc yen. This one we're still into. This one has not hit its target. So we're long on this one. We're currently up on this trade about 39 or 40 pips right now. On this one, at one point we were up 138 or 139 pips. It's definitely pulled back in the last hour, but you know, we're still in this trade. I still like this one, even though it's pulled back and hasn't hit its target. Again, it hasn't quite reached any supply up here. If you look at Sonar Lab, the supply is all the way up here. So I haven't really made an interest in closing this yet. I think it should continue to rally. But again, with detours, like obviously it's on a detour right now where the last 1 or 2 hours it's pulled back from that high, right? So I'm still just being patient on this trade. As far as, let's see, could you bring this stop loss to break even at this point? You could. You definitely could if you wanted to protect your account. I might bring mine up at least, maybe to this last apex right here. Yeah, in fact, I'm going to do that just to protect funds. I'm going to go ahead and bring this stop loss to this apex right here. So not quite to break even, but I'm going to stop out right there. if it does continue lower, just because I do want to protect, right? And the other reason why is because when this thing pulled back right here, it already reconciled this demand area. So if it were to break below this low, it's probably just going to continue lower because it's already reconciled demand below that. Okay. So we wouldn't want to stay in a trade like that if it's not going to reconcile, or if it's already been reconciled, then it doesn't make sense to stay in. Okay. So we should get out if that happens. What you could see happen is it could come down to here. There's some demand around where we entered. So we'll give it some time and space to do what it wants to do there. But ultimately, if it wants to lose, we'll let it lose. And it has a stop loss now set at like 55 or 56 pips. But again, the target on this from our entry is like 300 pips. So again, it's a big trade. But it's definitely not looking as good as the euro yen. Obviously, the euro yen we already closed. We've already booked our profits on that euro yen. Tape profits hit 250 whatever pips, I don't know, something like that, already booked. Right? But this one not looking as good, but it's still, I mean, if you look at the positives though, it's still making higher highs. It's still making higher lows, right? There's still quite a ways until significant supply. Okay. We're breaking structure to the upside still, right? Let's see how sentiment looks on this franc yen. I'm curious. Yes, most people are still short, fewer people are long, 87% short and 13% long. So yeah, I mean, the idea is to go against these traders. So ultimately we still want to go long if we can. But yeah, of course, if it breaks through demand areas without, if it just breaks through, if it just breaks through these demand areas, if it just slices through here, then yeah, it's time to get out because we've already reconciled. If you think about it, this demand area right here was reconciled right here. Okay. And then this demand area right here was reconciled by this right here. Okay. So, but this area has not been reconciled yet. So if this right here, if the market comes into this, disrespects it and just keeps going down, it's time to leave. By the way, we just hit another take profit on that euro pound. Now we're up 10.6 booked and 57 pips unrealized. Anyway, just letting you know that what's going on over there with the bankers closed trades today. Oh, there goes, wait, I thought there goes another one. Almost. There it goes. Okay, so there goes another one. So we got 18.8 pips booked and then 55 unrealized. Okay, so just an FYI. All right. So this area hasn't been reconciled yet on the franc yen. And so if the market pulls back into this demand area and it works, great. Awesome. Let's continue to the upside as planned. But if it just blows past this area and just knocks us out, just take the L. Take the L and move on. Okay. So Kelvin, we take the bankers close trade right at the beginning of the class, just because it happens so quickly. So the bankers close trade, for those of you either new or for those of you that are watching the recording, is a phenomenon that takes place in the last hour of trading of London. So that's why we kind of do this class at this time. So the London Forex market closes at 12 p.m. Eastern. For me, I'm in Mountain Time Zone, so that's at 10 a.m. So in that last hour of trading, typically these European currency pairs like the euro pound, euro franc, pound franc, they typically create a reversal within that last hour, as long as assuming there's no news or assuming that you don't have any other fundamentals driving the market. that are significant, typically you're going to get a reversal if you hit a upper or lower Bollinger Band in that hour. So what we do is around an hour before the market closes, we'll look for this phenomenon. Okay. And I'll hop in as soon as I see it. And then, if I see it, I'll get in and go. But it happens so quickly that it's one of those trades, like, you will be frustrated if you're looking for a signal on the banker's close. You're just 100% you're going to be frustrated if you're looking for a signal. It's not going to get posted on Telegram because it happens like that. Okay, it's that quick of a trade. So we only post swing trades and day trades on Telegram because you actually have a fair opportunity to get in. Okay. It's not going to be fair to you. You're going to be frustrated. I've done this before. I've done it a million times. If I post the banker's close trade on Telegram, you're going to be 1,000,000% frustrated with the program, right? Just because you're not going to be able to get in on time. And that's why we do a live webinar to do this. But even then, sometimes the setup looks really good 2 minutes before the class even starts. So like I'll hop in, but the class hasn't even started yet. So the best thing I can do on the banker's close trade is teach you. That's the best thing I can do, is teach you how to do it. And then obviously, hopefully we can get in together, that's great. If we can take it together, it happens. If it sets up 5 minutes after the class has started and we can get in together, wonderful. Okay. But sometimes it sets up just a few minutes before we even start. I've seen some of these even set up 15 minutes before the class starts. So, and then they just kind of go quickly. And because there's millions of eyes looking at the same chart, trying to do this exact same thing I've been telling you and I've been showing you here, there's millions of other people trying to take the same trade, and banks taking the same trade. Again, if you don't have my setup like here, as you can see here, I've got the 3 charts. I got the Euro Franc 5-minute with Bollinger Bands, Euro Pound, Pound Franc, and every single one has Bollinger Bands on it. Unless you're looking for it and ready and just have the sell button or buy button ready to go, you're just going to miss it. You're just going to miss it, right? So in the future, I'm just teaching you, this is how you're going to find success with the banker's close. If you want to trade the banker's close, the commitment is you have to commit an entire hour of your day, which for a lot of people, that's not too bad, but for some people it is too much. And you basically need to start looking for trades basically at the hour or maybe even a few minutes before the hour starts, and then just go from there. Okay. But yeah, it's not going to be posted because I used to post banker's close trades before, and people would text me, 5 hours later and say, I missed the trade. I'm like, yeah, the trade started, I posted it and it already left before I could even send you the signal. So I sent it, but it's already moved halfway to its target by the time I sent it. And then, yeah, it was just a mess, total mess. So I stopped doing that. So the type of trades that are going to work for you guys as far as signals go, and guys, I've been running signal programs for like 8 years, not necessarily with Trading with Steve, but I used to run another signals program for another company for years, 6 years. And so I have a lot of experience with this type of thing. This is how you're going to find success with signals, is to set and forgets. It's the only way. If you want to trade scalping with me, you're just going to have to come and watch me trade live, and you're going to have to learn the skill, get the setup. You can see here, I got a workspace. I got the 5-minute charts with the Bollinger Band with the 3 pairs I trade for the banker's close. In fact, take a look here. I have my different workspace. So I have my Steve workspace, which is the one I use at night to look for my swing trades, supply demand swing trades, and then the banker's close workspace. I just have 2 workspaces for the different types of trading that I do. That's it, right? Okay, cool. Yeah, got it. I'm glad it helped, Kelvin. Yeah, it's frustrating because like you come here and you're like, oh, Steve's up 100 pips and I missed it. Like, I totally get it. It would be very frustrating to me too, but I'm just letting you know the only way to trade this is through. It's like you got to do it. I'll teach you how to do it, but then ultimately you have to be the one that takes the trade. All right. So, okay, cool. So anyway, that's a recap of all of our trades. So this one is the least profitable. Like I said, it's up 40 pips. USD CAD's up over 100 pips right now, and moving. Euro yen closed at the take profit right this morning. We're done out of that trade. And then we've got, a CAD franc ready to go. Short up here, ready to go. And we've got the Aussie CAD short ready to go up here. So we're rocking and rolling. And what I'll do again tonight, guys, when I trade on my own, I will send more trades out. If I can find more setups, I'll send them out as soon as I can. My only concern with sending a ton of trades out is I don't want you guys to be confused with like having too many trades open, right? And a lot of these trades are very correlated. So, if you take one trade, you've taken them all, you know type of thing, right? Like we've got a lot of trades on the CAD right now, Aussie CAD. We've got the USD CAD, the CAD franc. We got a lot of CADs out there. So we don't want to be too correlated, if that makes sense either. So I will just try to find trade setups, but ultimately you guys come to this class and you're able to find these on your own, right? And I think that's a really good 3-step formula that I've created is 1, identify structure, 2, identify the break, 3, identify and execute trades around supply and demand, right? So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that quick thing on the bankers close trades. So I am probably going to just let these things play out actually, because we've got the market kind of pinned here. If the euro franc wants to go back up, well, that's just going to hit all of our take profits on the euro pound. And if the euro franc just wants to keep going down, hopefully that'll expand and we'll start making some more money on that. So I'm going to actually just let these continue to sit. So the euro franc short, I'm going to let those continue to go to their targets, hopefully. And then the euro pound, I'm also going to let sit. Now, the only contingency here is I am going to close all of these trades out before rollover. So rollover happens in 5 hours, right? It happens at 3 p.m. Mountain. That's 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. Or 2 a.m. Pacific, or 2 p.m. Pacific. So all of these trades will be closed out before then, and I'll give you guys an update just letting you know that I've closed them. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that. Really appreciate your attendance today. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you in the next webinar.